everyone out there in podcast land. Welcome to another episode of Black and White Reviews. My name is Chuck.
And my name is Lee.
And...
Yep. Yes, here we are.
Here we are. Please, as we've said before, please don't unsubscribe. Yes, we are doing Miss Marvel. Episode 3. The only reason why we are doing this is because of the Captain Marvel movie that is slated to come in the next year or so, and this show feeds into that. So we just want to make sure that we're keeping up to date with everything Marvel. And this preteen debacle ends up being the next thing in our repertoire. So here we are. Yeah. What do you think so far?
Well, I think you pretty much just hit the nail right on the head there. This is like it's Disney's. It's like if the Disney Channel had a superhero show that was trying to be Marvel, then you would have this.
True.
And yeah, that's pretty much where we're at.
So this episode is called Destined. Yeah, very interesting episode. I'm still trying to so often in our previous podcasts, it's been like Will and I are usually on the same page more often than not, and Lee is playing the other side of the coin. He's playing devil's advocate because he's trying to find, like we did Boba Fett, he was trying to find the good things in the episode. I've been trying to do that with this TV show, and it's very difficult.
Well, yep.
Like some of the action is okay, but other than that, it's like, I don't know.
I will say one great thing came out of this episode. Brown Jovi.
That's fantastic.
It was pretty fantastic.
That is
Brown
pretty
Jovi.
Fantastic. So, yeah, let's just get into it. So this starts off in British-occupied India back in 1942. During World War II, there's a big dig going on, and Aisha, that's her name, right? The one who, her great-grandmother, whoever.
Her great-grandmother.
She finds the bangle. They are looking for 2, but they only find 1, and it happens to be attached to a severed arm.
A blue
Severed arm.
Yes.
Right. So, that says one of 2 things to me. Either, or one of 3 things. A, if you wear it, at some point in time, you will lose your limb. B, it will actually, dye your hand or your limb blue, and then it will fall off. Or C, a member of the Blue Man Group actually found the bangle, and then they passed away. So I'm thinking the latter is the most realistic right now.
Absolutely.
But I could be wrong.
Have you seen them live, by the way?
Back in the 90s, I did, yes.
Yeah, they're phenomenal.
They're ridiculous.
They are hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They just started in the 90s. Like, today, they're bigger than they were then. Because they do a lot more now. But I saw them in the beginning of when they started picking up. They didn't do as much as they do now.
Yeah. Now, we saw them, oh boy, 7, 8 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Maybe longer. Actually, oh no, it was definitely longer. It was before I was even married. So
much longer.
Maybe like 14 years ago.
Isn't it weird how time just flies? And before you know it, you're 40, watching a TV show about a 16-year-old girl. And talking about it.
Yeah. Well, it helps when you're a man-child.
This is true. Yeah, my 14-year-old daughter, who would love this show, actually is the one who slated me as the nerd or the geek of the family. Like, I can't say.
What's funny about it is your 14-year-old daughter won't even watch the show.
Nope.
She's like, that sounds lame.
It does.
And then moves on. And here we are.
Talking about it.
Here we are.
So present day, Kamala, the people that saved her last episode are now talking with her, and Kamala is hearing the story of Aisha for the first time. And so what we saw in the opening is actually just them telling the story. Who's telling the story is Kamran's mom? It's Kamran, right?
Yeah, it's not Cameron.
Cameron, right. Kamala is having a conversation with Kamran's mom, and they want her to take them home.
Wait till they meet Khan. Kamala Khan. Wait a second.
The wrath is coming soon.
If somebody yells in this series, Khan, it'll be amazing.
They'll probably get sued.
No, it'll be perfect.
It would be. So come to find out, all these people, except for Kamran, are roughly 100 years old. They are known as the Clandestines, also known as the Jinn. So they're like the scary real-life ghost stories that people talk about.
Like Wishmaster.
Yes. Yes.
Have you seen Wishmaster?
No.
Oh, okay. It's a horror movie about a djinn. And it's one of those be careful what you wish for horror movies.
Oh, gosh.
Well, I mean, a djinn is basically a genie. It's just,
Right.
Different. Yeah.
Right. They're just scarier and apparently real.
Oh, yeah.
Go figure.
Scarier than ghost stories.
Right.
There's just ghost stories, and then there's djinn stories, which are scarier because they're real. Yeah.
Sure. Well,
That's
Kamala,
what she says.
at this point in time, Kamala runs back to meet up with Bruno. We almost forgot about him. We don't usually talk about him, but we have to in this episode because he does
Well,
play.
we've been talking about Brian for so long.
That's true.
Right.
She tells him everything she just found out, and she's asking him like how if his math skills are up to date because he needs to figure out interdimensional travel.
Yeah. Okay.
So the 16-year-old boy who hasn't even graduated high school yet is about to figure out basically what Tony Stark was trying to figure out but was not able to.
Yeah, he needed that Mobius strip.
The impossibility of making time travel happen, with an intelligent computer, Tony Stark figured out, but this 16-year-old boy who has access to nothing is supposed to figure out interdimensional travel. So we'll figure that one out. Maybe we'll see something like that. Maybe not.
Yeah, we'll see.
The funny thing is he stops this whole thing, tells her that she's trending on social media, and basically it's just her dropping the kid off of the tower from the last episode, just in repeat. She's, she feels horrible. Not really the best thing out there for her to see at this moment in time. I'm going to say out of all the podcasts we've done, this is probably
The most straightforward.
and hardest one to do. Because usually we're talking about what's going to happen next. We dig into it, and it's like,
Oh, we know what's going to happen next. And it's just like, here it comes. And there it is.
yep.
Okay. And yep.
And next,
Well, okay, again, there's not much. They're not trying to put things past or get things past kids. They really want to lay things on thick, so they're very obvious. The only thing that wasn't very obvious was who exactly was Kamran for a little bit. But
Right.
now that we know he's the son of this djinn, it's like, oh, okay, then that's all we needed to know.
I'm good.
Got it.
Right. So we go over, and the Department of Damage Control.
Ah, yes, the DODC.
Yeah, this fantastically made up government Sector 7 went pretty far when it came to Transformers.
Yeah.
The DODC. Who thinks of these initials? Like, I don't get it.
The DODC was created after what happened in New York with the Avengers.
Sure. Back in 2012?
Well, yeah, they were created after that. So if you remember in Spider-Man Homecoming, it was the DODC that was coming down to basically collect all the alien stuff that came back.
I actually forgot about that.
And that's when Toomes decided to, basically fight back and take the stuff and basically take it from them. And that was the whole plot of that whole movie. So yeah, the DODC was introduced there, but the whole point was it was right after the events of the attack on New York.
So they somehow know that this vigilante known as Nightlight, which we'll come to find out she and her friend Nokia, they both hate the name, but they go to this mosque that she happens to go to, and they're inquiring about her. Mm-hmm. How they know she's coming? How they know that she hails from this mosque? I don't know, but hey, they're the Department of Damage Control. They have top secret information that none of us do. At this point in time, they're actually in the middle of the final vote casting for the board that Nakia has been trying to go for. And she actually jumps up, throws all these legal terms at the DODC, and they say that she says that they actually need a search warrant to come in and start doing stuff. So they end up leaving. They respect her in that area. And yeah, I wish when I watched this first scene, all I wanted was one of those big red Staples buttons that says that was easy, and just push it and say that was easy. Like, this government agency comes in, storming in. This 16-year-old girl is like, you need this. And they go, okay. I've never watched any TV show, movie, or anything in my entire life where a government agency came in, a 16-year-old boy said something, and they just went along with it.
Yeah, well.
Especially if they're a top secret organization. Take Transformers, for example. Sector 7 comes busting in. 16-year-old boy is like, no. And they go, nope, we're still taking you. Like, that's typically what happens. Why they made this so easy, I don't get.
As long as he eats all the donuts, then he won't look like he's a suspect. Yeah,
that's true.
He's not guilty, right?
That's true. I just don't understand why, whether it's Disney or Marvel Studios, is just making this so easy. They're making the plot line so simple, so basic, so cookie cutter. Yeah, there's no twists.
They're appealing to a generation that we are not in. So maybe okay. I'm going to think of two things. These are my predictions. Either they're appealing to a generation that we are not, a generation that likes things spoon-fed so they can just enjoy it and follow along, or there's a bigger twist that we're not seeing yet, but we'll see later, and it makes everything else go, oh, okay, I'll take that.
So I'll be honest. I will be impressed if there actually is a giant twist come the 6th episode of this TV series.
Well, the fact that, I guess we'll get there later. At the last episode that we have watched, we know that something interesting happens that we weren't expecting. But so I guess we'll see where that takes us. But
yeah, spoiler alert. We are basically a few weeks behind in airing these podcasts when they came out on Disney Plus. We're actually recording episode 3. We have seen episode 4. I will admit, before we get into it, episode 4 was a tad bit more interesting and exciting than this episode.
Well, things actually happened, so
yeah.
Something.
It took 4 episodes for something to happen, but Nakia. I'm just gonna call her Nokia because it's just easier. Versus, is it Nakia or Nakia? How do you pronounce it? Because you're good at the names guy.
It's Nakia. They said it like 70 times. Nakia.
Yeah, and it's Tenet.
See? Tenet. Just look at how it's spelled.
I know, but it's pronounced
a palindrome.
Tenet.
It's pronounced tenet. Tenet. It's a real word.
I know. It's the person who rents from a landlord.
No.
No. Oh,
No.
That's tenant.
No, a tenet is a principle or belief, especially one of the main principles of a religion or philosophy.
Now, here's the
That's
question.
what a tenet is.
Does that title have anything to do with the actual movie then? Does that
It's a
definition
word.
actually fit the movie?
The fact that it's a palindrome is kind of the point of it, where things are moving forward and then moving backward at the same time. So that's kind of the point of it being the name of it. But there's a few times where people drop the word and they say it. Oh, it's the tenets that we live by, and it's just a key word that they
Okay.
use to kind of explain what's going on. So they did do it throughout the movie.
I do have to watch that movie. I've literally watched like 15 minutes of it, and I started to I was so tired.
Oh, you still didn't watch the whole movie?
No, because it's a 2.5 hour movie, and you have to be ready for it.
Oh, you have to be awake.
Right.
I've fallen asleep to it as well. But I mean, it's a great movie. It's just, it's like, okay.
I laid down to watch
I
it
read
one
about
day,
the whole
and I was
Robert
like,
Pattinson doesn't even understand what's going on still.
that was a what's his name? Who did Batman?
Robert Pattinson.
No,
What?
the trilogy.
Who did
Who
Batman?
directed
Christopher Nolan.
That was a Nolan film, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what happened was Christopher Nolan did Memento.
Yes,
Which
fantastic.
was
movie.
which was like a taste of what he wanted to do. But he was like, I can't make it too complicated. People won't get it. He basically wanted to do Tenet. But at that time, it was early on. He didn't want to do something that was so confusing people wouldn't get. And then he did stuff like the Dark Knight trilogy and stuff like that and some other things. But when he did Interstellar, too many people were complaining that it was like so spoon-fed.
Too on the
Especially
nose.
Will. Will said it was so Steven Spielberg,
It
like
was.
spoon-fed, that he couldn't stand it. I'm like, I didn't think it was that bad. It was interesting. It was well put together. I love his use of Hans Zimmer for the music. It's always, awesome music. It fits really well with what he's doing. But that was the thing, is people were complaining that he was getting too Hollywood, mainstream, and cookie cutter. And so he's like, okay, here's Tenet. And everyone's like, what? But
I don't
But
get it.
why would you? I don't understand. And he's just like, this is what you've asked for.
See,
so
the only thing about that movie that just really frustrated me was this wormhole, black hole.
oh, Interstellar. Yeah.
Millions and millions of light years, or thousands of light years away.
Mm-hmm.
Leads behind a bookcase,
Yes.
in this guy's bedroom
Yeah.
or office. That's just it's to me. That's just
What are the
it's
odds?
ridiculous. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
So Nakia bursts into Kamala's room, lays down on the bed. They start talking. They talk about Nightlight and how they both hate the name. And then she tells her in a roundabout way that she won the votes and that she is now a board member. The funny thing is you have two girls sitting here going, dude, bro.
Right.
Okay.
The dude, bro.
The dude, bro. Next, big scene of wedding prep and partying. So everyone's getting dressed up. They're having a giant party, prepping for her brother's wedding. I guess there's this thing where in the Pakistani I don't know, way of their preparation for the wedding, they usually hide the pair of shoes for the groom. In this case, they hide all of his shoes.
Yeah.
I don't understand that. What's the word I'm looking for?
Cultural ritual.
No, another word for tradition. The tradition is they hide the pair of shoes that he wears for the wedding. In this case, they hid all of his shoes.
Yeah.
I don't understand that.
Well, that's just basically a hint into their culture. Most people don't understand that, but they're like, oh, that's funny. I guess they do that. It's kind of like, pouring the Gatorade on the coach after a winning game. Like it's a thing that they do. It's like, oh, ha ha ha, we did it. That's what it is.
fantastic.
They've I will say that they've done a good job introducing
Their nationality,
Pakistani culture into mostly non-Pakistani viewing audience, where all the Marvel fans and everything.
Well, they did the
here,
same thing with Shang-Chi. They did a really good job with that as well too. I will say that is the one thing that Marvel does do, is they do take a people's group and they introduce it in here, and they do a really, really good job. Even in Moon Knight, the Egyptian, way of doing things, their whole nationality and their whole way of life, they introduced that pretty well. Shang-Chi did well, bringing in the Asian culture. This bringing in the Pakistani culture. They do a really, really good job with that. The only part that I really have a hard time with is the neighborhoods that they all live in are just... It's like Pakistan in America. It's like Asia in America. Like, there's nobody else except... And the ironic part is in their neighborhood, you have the 16-year-old white boy working at the
at the convenience store. That's obviously done on purpose. The whole thing is,
of course, because it's the it's the reversal of the roles in that case.
But
it works.
That's what they're doing here. It's what they've been focusing on. But I mean, one thing that is kind of, they even did it in You Don't Mess with the Zohan. There are parts of cities where certain cultures tend to gather, and they tend to kind of live together and work together in a certain area. We don't notice it as much because we're kind of all over the place.
Well, we like diversity,
and we also grew up here. We didn't come over here from another country. We were born in this country.
Right.
So with that being said, it's like, well, then we're kind of here, there, and everywhere. But people who come to a new country, think of it this way. If you went over to Japan, wouldn't you find a place where there's more Americans so you can speak your own language, learn the culture slowly, and not just be thrown into it and stuck?
Probably.
It would make sense.
Right.
So that's what they're showing here. Is that it happens more often.
Right.
So I get it. It's just I didn't realize if it is true or if they just made it up for this, that there were these little like Pakistani
pockets
groups,
right?
In different cities.
Which there probably is.
Are they in Chicago? Is that what this is?
No, they're in Jersey.
Jersey, you're right.
They're right outside of
they're
New
in
York.
New Jersey. Yeah, so not too far away. But so in New Jersey, apparently there's this Pakistani town,
right,
but
or
whatever.
neighborhood. Well, at this party, Bruno drops off a little gift to Kamala, because he has to work, and she takes it out onto her front porch, and she's sitting there contemplating life and all of the heaviness that a 16-year-old has living life. She's questioning to herself if she should continue doing what she's doing or if she quits, if she should quit. She's talking to her, what I could only imagine is like an older uncle or a grandfather out on her front porch.
I'm pretty sure that was like the head of the church or the mosque, rather.
Was it? Okay.
I thought it was.
It could
be
have been
wrong, but
it could have
thought
been.
It was.
And he's talking with her, and she's talking with him, and he's like, "Good is not a thing you are; it's a thing you do." So this was like their little proverb for the story. And she ends up opening up the gift, and it's a mask for her to wear, so she can do her vigilante stuff with this new mask. So she's been wearing this giant helmet lately. I'm guessing this is going to replace that down the road, so she doesn't have to just wear this giant cardboard helmet that she's been wearing.
Right, so she'll be more exposed, and obviously her, when they're trying to figure out
Well,
who she
no,
is.
no. If you put that mask over your eyes, look at Robin.
Oh, yes.
Look at Clark Kent.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Right.
it will hide you.
Well, that's DC.
Look at Hawkeye.
Okay.
Does he wear a mask? No, he doesn't wear a mask.
No, he doesn't. He's just Clint Barton.
He's just clear. Yeah, yep, that's true.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, never mind.
That's the thing about Marvel. Marvel doesn't... I mean, a lot of the characters, like, I am Steve Rogers, Steve Rogers, Tony Stark, Thor, Thor Odinson.
Everyone knows who they are.
Yeah, everybody knows who they are. But, there's it's always the young ones that have to hide their identity because they're kids and they're still trying to live another life at the same time.
Sure, like
so
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man, Ms. Marvel, Nightlight, whatever you want to call her. Yeah.
At this point, you actually see Bruno working over at his store. Kamala's dad stops by to sneak a Hostess. What was it? Those little mini pies, like a cherry pie.
Yeah.
He said there's something delicious about the synthetics of it all.
the syntheticness of it.
So he's sneaking this in, and on the countertop, he sees that Bruno is reading some stuff on the Pakistani heritage, and he comes along the whole thing of gin. So he kind of gives Bruno a little bit more insight onto what it is. And he's like, if you want more help on this, I'll give you more help, because Bruno made up that he's actually doing a paper for school on this.
Right. Yeah. So he translated it for him just that way. It saved him a ton of time.
Right, making it easy for him to understand. That's
and
where you get the
show
whole
along.
he's a G. Yeah, basically it's info. It's info dumping at that point. What's a djinn? So we know moving forward what we're faced with. It's like a genie. It's like a ghost, but it's real life. They're worse. Kamala and Bruno at this point talk a little bit more about interdimensional travel. She's like, we need to do this now. He wants to help her, but doesn't think it's the right timing. Because if he helps her now, things might go boom.
Yeah,
I believe
he basically explains everything in a very technical way, and she's like, yeah, now pretend I just speak English, like pretend I'm really dumb and just talk to me like a human. And he just says, yeah, if we do this, things might go boom. I love how she convinces him to help out, and he's like, I'm not really sure how to do this. And he says that he did mention that he read something from Dr. Selvig, which, if we remember Dr. Selvig, from Thor and everything, like, he was all about, like, trying to do interdimensional travel and interspace travel. It's interesting now, we're talking about interdimensional travel. And the last movie we saw of MCU had a character who could interdimensionally travel. So we're seeing a lot of these things, and I wonder if they'll tie her into this with Miss Marvel somehow, or Captain Marvel somehow. Didn't you say your wife hates this whole multiverse thing? Or somebody was just talking about that, saying that their wife couldn't stand the multiverse, and they were just losing their mind about it. Like, this is just dumb.
I don't know, but I started watching Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Oh, I know. I'm gonna watch that too at some point. And I don't even get into it.
It starts off, and I'm just like, huh?
Yeah.
Like, it's trippy. So I'm only like 15 minutes into it, but it's trippy.
Oh yeah. Oh, you're 15 minutes in. I was wondering who was 15 minutes in. I was looking at the queue. Will's already watched the whole thing.
Oh, on Plex?
Yeah. And he says it's fantastic. So
it looks fantastic.
Yeah,
but
he says it's exactly what we expected. So if we're like really upset about the multiversal stuff, he's like he said it's everything that we wanted Doctor Strange to be.
Oh, I can't wait to fully watch it then.
Yeah, well, you're gonna have to, because we're busy right now.
I get so. I love how every time I say I can't wait for this, you're like, you have to. Like, I know I have to. It's a figure of speech.
I'm just setting realistic expectations.
And I appreciate it. I truly appreciate it. I love how in this part she's like, might. The only thing when she's like, might, so you tell me there's a chance. The only thing, and the
1 in a million.
Only place my mind went to was, is there a chance? What are the odds of a guy like you and a girl like me
ending up together?
1 in a million.
Not good.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
I read you. At
this point in time, Bruno thinks it's the best time to tell her that he's going to Caltech, but he wants to make sure she's safe before he goes.
Now, I just have to ask. He has a little bit of a resemblance to Tom Holland, correct? Just slightly. Not a lot.
Yeah.
He also dresses like Marty McFly. he's constantly wearing a puffy vest. It's all different colors, but he keeps on doing it, and I'm like, all right. It seems like they did it on purpose, because there was that whole thing about the deep fake with Tom Holland and Robert Downey Jr. in Back to the Future as Marty and Doc, and it looked really, really well, like good. This was like early deep fake when they started like just doing it, and people were like, that's amazing, and it fit. So they were actually talking about how great would it be if they had a remake and used these actors to do it. At this point, it would be a faux pas, just because it's like, come on. I mean, but it seems funny to me, as if they purposely did this just to kind of give us a little Marty in the MCU. But
makes
anyway,
sense.
It's just a little nod.
You bring that up and about remaking movies. There are some movies that you just can't remake,
but they do it anyway. Red Dawn,
which was awful. They should. I mean, if you never had the original Red Dawn,
Point Break.
What?
Point Break.
Never saw the new one.
I never saw it either. But the point is, Total Recall. Ugh.
I get it. Like, there's certain movies you shouldn't Dredd, Judge Dredd.
Well, that wasn't a remake as much as it was added on, right?
No,
was
it was a remake.
Oh, okay.
It's a complete remake.
RoboCop.
That was an add-on.
No, RoboCop was a brand new.
Was it really?
Oh yeah, it was a retelling. It was a whole new story.
Like, if they're gonna do it as an add-on 20 years later, fine.
Put it this way: could you imagine them doing a remake of Wayne's World? There are certain things you can't do. You know what else they did that was horrible? A Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh, that was awful.
You can't, like, I remember saying, I'm like, there's no way that you can do that movie without Robert Englund, and they did it without him, not even a cameo. And
he was just he embodied Freddy Krueger like nobody else.
Right, and that was the whole point of it. So it's one thing if you have a supporting actor. Okay, Batman. Okay, Batman is based off a comic. You can keep on telling stories like that because they're based off of a comic.
Right.
If you do a movie and then years later try to just remake it because you're like, oh, I bet you we can make it cooler, you really have to knock it out of the park.
Right.
Otherwise, people are going to be really upset. Like, the Power Rangers movie was not good.
Oh, that was horrible.
And whether you were a Power Rangers fan back in, like, 91 or 92, whenever it came out,
95.
or not. Was it? No, it wasn't 95.
I think so.
It was way before that. No. It was way before that.
Are you sure?
No. Ah, jeez.
I'm looking it up.
Go ahead.
I am. Go Power Rangers.
93.
I told you. I was close. It was actually right in the
said
middle of what we
91.
both said.
I know. So there we go. I thought about it. I'm just like, wait, 91. No, that doesn't match up. Because I was about 6. So that's perfect. Yep. Anyway. Yeah, so this whole thing, they're doing too many remakes, but they're not doing a good job with them. So it's just making us go, Hollywood, what are you doing?
Right.
Like,
Or
it's not like we're saying you're ruining the old one. It's just saying, why waste all of our time?
Or just make something original.
I know.
What's his name? Jordan, what's his name, who does, like, Nope?
Jordan Peele? Yeah, he's fantastic.
Because he's making something
We talked
original.
about this the last time.
Or John
Yeah.
Krasinski with, A Quiet Place, which I'll be honest,
Yep.
I've yet to see those movies.
Still?
So I have yet to see them.
Check him on Plex. Anyway.
And I've been told that the fact that they don't use any music in the entire movie is like what makes the whole movie.
Which is funny because generally music is what makes the whole movie. But the lack of music in this, it adds to it because that's the whole point. It's like it helps with certain things, but in this, it's brilliantly done. You really have to hand it to
John Krasinski?
to Krasinski because if you try to tell him about it, you get killed. So you just quiet. You just hand it to him quietly. So
the rest of this film,
yeah.
rest of this TV show is pretty quick. Actually, there's about 20 minutes left, but about 15 minutes of it is just one giant fight. So they need more time. She's texting with Kamran. Kamran says, no worries, you can take more time. Let's get through the wedding first.
Yeah, he's like, you worry about the wedding, we'll figure it out.
Right.
Don't worry about it.
That was the wrong thing to say.
Apparently.
So now it's wedding time. Apparently, in this wedding, you have to say "I do" 3 times.
Yep. Just to make sure.
Just to make
that
sure
you're not held at gunpoint, and that you're.
After
I'm
that,
Lydia Dietz, and I'm of sound mind. the man I want is right beside me.
right, and after that, you have to say Beetlejuice 3 times too.
Beetlejuice. Yes, I love that man of mine.
Now it's party time, and they're having a big party. They're dancing. Everyone's dancing. Her brother has a surprise dance for his new bride. They're partying. Everyone's having conversation. Enter Kamran to let Kamala know that the Jinn, or his mother, the Jinn, are now coming to get her. How to clear a room out when the bad guy is coming?
Well, they've done it plenty of times in so many movies.
Yep.
Pull the fire alarm.
And you better believe everyone clears out. So everyone clears out. Commence fight. So they're fighting all over this convention hall, the partying room, the kitchen, the hallways, the staircases. They're having fights everywhere. The fight in the kitchen kind of reminded me of a little bit of the scene in Jurassic Park where she's hiding behind like the stuff and using the pots and pans to distract them.
Right.
It's just instead of using it against raptors, they're using it against the Jinn. In the midst of all of this fight, she has a vision of this train, which, we'll find out about that later. The fight commences, and then everything works out. She starts using her powers in a greater way than she's ever used before. And then all of a sudden, she wins the fight. Kamran actually helps her with the fight. And then the DODC comes in and arrests the Jinn. All of them. His mom, the uncles, the aunties, the everybody who has been involved. They all get arrested. She ends up on the rooftop or out in the back alley with Bruno and Nakia. And this is where Nakia now finds out who Kamala is. And she's pretty upset. She's upset that she was her best friend and wasn't told anything. So who's her best friend, Bruno or Nakia? I sway more towards Bruno. However,
yeah,
I don't fully know.
So here's the thing. I think for girls, they can have a best boyfriend and a best girlfriend. And you can't really compare. I think that's what they're kind of going for. So she's best friends with both of them, but it's not like one or the other.
Yeah,
but Bruno's a little bit closer just because he's been
Nakia's her
around.
bro.
Right.
So what would that make Bruno?
Her Bruno.
We don't talk about him.
We don't talk about her, Brian.
So the fight commences. Everything that happens, it ends. Now they're back at home. Her mom is begging her to tell her what's going on because she realizes that Kamala is going through all these hard times. Her mom's thinking it's basically just, growing pains and her coming into her own, when really it's not, as the audience knows. Kamala doesn't tell her mom. She can't tell her mom. She ends up, going to her room and roll credits. Very not exciting ending.
Nope.
Aside from the fight that happens in here, which was, mediocre at best for a fight that Marvel shows, I will say this: one of the best Marvel fights I've seen so far as of late is the fight scene on the bus in Shang-Chi.
Yeah, that was cool.
If they did more like that, I would be I'd be happier with Marvel, because here's the thing: Marvel is a comic book franchise, and people want to see crazy battles. They want to see crazy fights. That is the point. And when they sway away from that too much, they're going to start losing their audience.
Right. So they've been really struggling to find a good balance ever since the Infinity Saga ended. Spider-Man, spot on. Like, they did a great job with that.
It was fantastic.
It was great, but they're still they're trying to introduce new characters without having a connection to the old. They're trying to do it so we can move on and not be so dependent on the characters that we've had. Now, Guardians of the Galaxy was the only really successful branch off that had no connection to the other characters. Shang-Chi, I'd say would be a close second.
I haven't seen it since it first came out. I've watched it a few times. But
What, Shang-Chi?
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about Shang-Chi anymore.
Neither do I.
We've done that enough.
3 times, and it's yet to air. But I will say that I did enjoy that film.
Yeah.
That one I
was
did
good.
enjoy. Eternals, not so much. Black Widow, they could have a 6-episode miniseries and it would have been better, in my opinion.
If they broke it up like that and just had 6 episodes, I would be like, okay, this makes sense for a show. But for it to be this movie that we've been waiting for 2 years,
Yeah.
nah, sorry,
Yeah.
nope.
Yeah, but you were saying, they're trying to do all these things, but they were successful with Iron Man. They were successful with Thor. They were successful with introducing these new characters in the beginning that had a right amount, but they're swaying even away from that.
Yeah,
They could have the same.
absolutely.
They're trying to. I don't get it. It's like I don't know what they're trying to do. Like, I will say, Infinity War and Endgame are some big shoes to fill. Some pretty big shoes to fill. I mean, Thor: Love and Thunder looks pretty intense for the next. But again, that's part. I don't know if it's not part of the Infinity Saga, but it's all part of that. The main Avengers, the Avengers initiative stuff,
Right,
which the rest of these characters are not.
right. I mean, I don't know. We can stop and just say, hey, they had their time, and I was satisfied with it. Just be okay with it, like, because once they ended, and Endgame, like, that's it. We're satisfied. Like, I can just be satisfied. And I remember saying, I don't know what Spider-Man's gonna be like because, I mean, actually, first of all, Far From Home was after Endgame.
Yeah.
Never mind No Way Home.
Right.
So Far From Home was the second Spider-Man movie, and that was after
And that was
Endgame.
fantastic. And that was fantastic.
And they did a
too.
great job with that. And then they did again a great job with No Way Home. And they're both after Endgame. So they could do it, but they're not because there's no tie-in anymore. So they really need to find a way to tie things back in and introduce characters the right way. It's almost as if they're... Well, no, it's not like Justice League. Justice League was a forced, here's a bunch of characters that never had a backstory yet. And then it's like, then we'll do Wonder Woman. It's like, nah, then we'll do Aquaman. Nah. No, they have to find a way to really to draw us to certain characters. When you watch a movie, what were we just talking about recently? It was the same kind of thing. You still haven't seen Jurassic World Dominion yet.
From what I've understood, I guess. So in the beginning, I wanted to see Top Gun Maverick on streaming and Jurassic World in the theater, and I actually saw Top Gun in the theater. And I'm now actually going to wait probably until Jurassic World is streaming because I've heard nothing but news about that movie.
Well, there's an ness to it, but I went into it with very low expectations, saying, well, if I'm going to watch a new Jurassic World movie, it's going to be in the theater, So that's why I was like, I'll make the effort and I'll go check it out. So it made more sense for me to do it that way. I guess Maverick would be pretty cool in the theater too, but the reality is
Maverick was insane in the theater.
Yeah, well, I have a projector in my basement. So once something comes out, I can just sit here with my bass cranked up and in like some in a chair.
It won't compare to this. This movie
don't
was
know.
fantastic, and everyone's saying even watch it in IMAX. It's even better in IMAX.
Well, you know what I should do? I should pull up my Gear VR, and when it comes out, I'll watch it on that instead. You know, total surround with the headphones on, and
Yeah.
just be like, ah. But anyway, that's that. I mean, this show, we knew this was going to be a short episode anyway, just because it was nothing special. It gave us a little bit to know, okay, well, the ones we thought might be good people, they're actually bad people. Okay, where's it going to go from here? I don't know. But, you know, Kamran took a hit. The DODC showed up and captured everybody, and okay, that's interesting.
That's it.
Oh, all right. And there's a train to Karachi. And I saw the train too. Okay, great.
Her
all right.
grandmother.
So,
Yep.
yeah, where's that going to lead us to? And we know that we have another thing about the train at the end of the next episode. And I think that's the only thing that's made me go, oh, well, what's that about? Like, what does that mean? So, I'm definitely interested in seeing the newest episode, episode 5, when we get there. So I guess we'll touch base on number 4 next time.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit here and try to keep talking about. I have nothing else really to
Yeah, me neither.
to share about this TV show. So for all you people in podcast world, you know, hang tight. We only got a few more episodes left, and then we're going to be back on schedule with just talking about a few more cool things. You know,
Yeah,
and
we have some new segments that we're going to be introducing.
Yep, and then I think what is it? Late August is Andor.
Oh, like end of August. We won't even get to that until September.
August, September. Okay, yeah. So
Yeah,
but that's going to be.
I think we've got She-Hulk coming at some point.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. If it's anything like this, then I'm all set.
Yeah, no, She-Hulk. Oh, so we've got a lot. Movie-wise, there's a lot happening, but I Am Groot is on August 10th. She-Hulk starts on August 17th, and Andor is August 31st. So we've got some shows coming out. I'm not sure. I think I Am Groot's an animated series.
Yeah, that's gonna be. I'm all set with that.
We'll see.
Is Vin Diesel playing Groot?
I Am Groot.
I am
That means
Groot.
yes, probably. I don't know.
I am Groot.
What else
I
is
love
he
how
doing?
I am Groot. Don't talk that way.
What was that?
What was what?
What was with the Scottish Groot?
I am Groot.
I am Groot.
Yeah, you could be
that
saying
late?
You could be saying anything at that point in time. According to Rocket, you could be saying anything. So,
Yeah. Well,
But-
it makes me think about it. Imagine if they had different actors in there. Like I keep laughing at that. Shrek was originally going to be Chris Farley. That would have been
Really?
so different if it wasn't, you know, Mike Myers doing a Scottish thing. You know, like it's very different. So just imagine all these different actors that could have been Groot, and how that would have sounded.
I really don't think it would have been a difference.
You don't think so? I am Groot.
That's his only line.
Yeah. Well,
They
what if
recorded
it. Was,
They recorded it 3 or 4 times, and they just spliced it in when they needed it.
Yeah, but if it was Mike Myers, I am Groot, it would have been ridiculous. You know, or, you know, somebody with an Indian accent, I am Groot, yes. No, wait, Lee Dickerson. Anyway,
So
that is, I'm spent.
yeah, tell me about it. So, with that being said, enjoy the rest of your week, people. Enjoy the next couple episodes of this. We have some movies coming out soon. We got some TV shows coming down the line. So bear with us as we grit our teeth and go through this TV series. But enjoy yourselves and have a great night, great day, great week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.